David wrote like this: O Lord, you have searched me and know me. Which means, what is to search? What is to search? To search is to look for, is to investigate, is to search. So when the doctor puts a camera inside to investigate something on your organs, so he's looking for where the eyes cannot see, only through the equipment. So he's searching, he's looking for what is in there. God does that in a way deeper level, in a spiritual level. He searches our heart, the thoughts, the things that we not even imagine that are there. There are things that you don't know that are inside of you. They still will come to light. They will still manifest itself in a certain moment. But God already knows that is in there. So God searches, and He said, you have searched me and know me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. God knows what we are thinking before we think it. He knows what we're going to do tomorrow, what we're going to think in 1 year time. He knows all in our regards. God is not limited with past, present, and future because He's not locked in time. God is outside time. Time is included in the science of God, but He's not limited by time in His science. He knows it all. He sees our lives as a frame, all at the same time. So nothing is hidden from His eyes. If I sit down, if I rise up, my thoughts, He understands from afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways, which means He knows everything that I do, where I go, what I've done, who I was with, what I said, what I thought. This not only physically, but also on the mobile phone, on the computer, on the internet, in the toilet, bathroom. He knows it all about us. Nothing is hidden from His eyes. This psalm speaks of the omniscience of God. He knows it all about us. He knows how many strands of hairs are in our head. He has this information that nobody has. You don't have it unless the bold man that is holding on to the last ones. But maybe not even the bold one knows, who is holding on to the last ones. But God knows all the information about us. He has this information, which means you cannot compare the science of God. And He knows that not to accuse us. But He has this knowledge also for our protection. When He says here, you comprehend my path and my lying down, which means when you lie down at night, God is protecting you. The guard of Israel is protecting you, is what says in Psalm 121. God is protecting us, guarding us, surrounding us. You're walking somewhere, and sometimes you don't know the dangers that God set you free because He went ahead of you. He set you free from the evil. So He speaks of His protection as well. And He says more. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. Which means, I didn't say yet, but He already knows what I'm going to say. He already knew that I will say this now. Are you able to understand? He already knew it. Before I'm saying it, He already knew it. Before you speaking, He already knew your words. You have hedged me behind and before and laid your hand upon me, which means protection. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit? Or, where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. So pay attention, please. I always remember the case of a young man who searched for me here at the Temple of Solomon after a service. He came to seek for counseling. He told me, Bishop, he opened his heart and said, Bishop, I'm from the church for 20 years. 20 years. But I am addicted to pornography. I cannot set myself free from pornography. Sometimes I stop for 2 weeks, but after it comes all back again. I cannot stop, Bishop. What can I do to set myself free from pornography? And then I told him, wait a moment. I went inside, I got my phone, I gave to him and said, open a pornographic website. And he told me, no, Bishop, for God's name's sake, I'm at the temple. I cannot do that. Oh, you are at the temple and you cannot do it because you are at the temple? No, because it's the house of God. So you wouldn't do this here because you believe that this is the house of God. God is here. Yes, Bishop. And this is your problem. This is your problem. You don't have the conscience that God is with you there in your bedroom, in your bathroom. When you're doing these things, you can control yourself and say no, and not open the pornographic websites here at the temple, but in your house you cannot. Why? Because you don't walk in the presence of God. You don't have conscience of the presence of God, is what David said in here. Where can I flee? Is written here. Where can I go from your spirit? Or, where can I flee from your presence? Which means, what is the difference? What is the difference on you being here in the temple or in your house? Visually, yes, there is. But spiritually, there is none. Because the God that is in here is there, in your house. When you are alone, in the room, the bathroom, when you are there in your company, when the boss is not watching you, you see this matter about the job. Usually, the employees, they work more when the boss is in or when he goes out. Do they work more when the boss is present or not present? Why? That's it. The boss is watching. The boss passes by and everybody starts to, isn't it? Isn't that what happens? It's funny, but it's tragic. It's tragic because it shouldn't be like that. Not because of the Christian. We understand the unbeliever. The unbeliever we understand. When the boss comes and the employee was there just getting by, he makes a way to show some work. We understand an unbeliever. But a Christian, you shouldn't be doing that. Why? Because you are before God. Either the boss is there or not, your behavior should not change. If it changes, it's because you are doing something wrong. Yes or no? If it changed, it's because you shouldn't do what you're doing. You, for example, in the church, I see that. You can imagine. I am the bishop. So we see that even in the church. So sometimes I open a door, I go in somewhere. It's sad. Yes or no? It's sad. It shouldn't be like this. Should it? You shouldn't. You should not change your behavior because the bishop is around, the pastor is around, the boss is around, because your wife is in the house, because your father, your mother is in the house. No. If you fear God, so your behavior will be one, constant. It will not make a difference. Either you are alone or you are at the presence of people. There's no reason to be different. Yes or no? So, who are we truly? We are the person who behaves when we are alone. The behavior that we manifest when nobody's watching, nobody has the chance of knowing it, this is the person we are. So your question has to be, what do I do when I am alone, when nobody's watching me? What do you do? What do you do? In what you occupy yourself with when you are alone? With your thoughts. Only you and your thoughts. Maybe you don't speak about it to anyone, but what is there inside of you? What are you thinking about it? What are you entertaining your thoughts with that you share with no one? God knows your thoughts. It's not that when you have bad thoughts, you are sinning. The bad thoughts come. This is not the sin. But for you to entertain, for you to scheme, the biblical word is to scheme. Schemes. What are schemes? Schemes are bad thoughts that you entertain, that you insist on. You remain with them. You feed them, these bad thoughts. These are schemes. So the person plans on deceive, on lying. These are schemes, are evil things, worse sometimes than the act itself. Is the person to scheme, to plan inside of them. The Bible calls it iniquity. Iniquity is the evil that was planned. There are people who in a bar fight, happens a lot, men are drinking, playing cards, suddenly a fight breaks out, one steps the other and ends up killing each other. A passionate killing. By right, there's one type of sentence to this death. There is another type of sentence to a different type of murder, the one that they planned. They spend months. How will I kill this person? I'm gonna do like this and that. This type of death has another type of punishment in the law. Yes or no? Because the person schemed, the person planned, which means it was born in here. It was not something out of emotion, it was something intentional, planned. Even the human right considers the difference between these two types of sins. Imagine God, the person who plans, who entertains evil inside of them. So this shows a sick heart, a rotten heart, a heart that is already completely taken by evil. So the only solution for this person is for them to repent, to pray to God and recognize their sin and ask God to change their heart and to seek for a new mind, new thoughts. The person of God don't keep on entertaining bad thoughts, much less scheming evil things, harmful things in their head. Did you understand? This reflects on your life. God searches the heart. He searches. He tests the innards. He tests what is inside of us to give to each person according to their works. What does that mean? It means that what I think, what I consider here inside of me, reflects on my outside. Sometimes the person does not know why their lives are so messed. Who looks from the outside, they don't understand why. Why this person is so messed, confused. There's always a problem with them. It's an accident, it's a sickness, it's a loss, they suffer this and that. Nobody understands why. But sometimes the problem is that the person is with a rotten heart. Their intentions are the worst. So that's why they are reaping the fruits on what they fed inside of them. Did you understand? So, if you fear God, if we fear God, we have to think how? Like this. God knows me. He knows what is inside of me. I cannot deceive God. It is impossible to deceive God. God knows even my thoughts. So how should I live my life? I should live my life both in thoughts, publicly, and privately, on what I express and what I do not express, what is inside of me. I have to live my life in a way that is approved before God. I have to be approved. If Jesus appears here and now before me, if He comes now before you, will you be spooked or will you be happy, rejoicing? How will your reaction be? If He comes now before you, your time has come, telling you, your time on setting accounts has come. How will you deal with that? So you have to be living your life clean and right before God. So if you are a person who is always covering your steps, wherever you walk by, you keep on erasing your steps for nobody to see where you walked, where you passed by. So there's something wrong. The worst of all, the greatest mistake of all, is that you are proving that you don't believe in God. As I spoke to that young man, your problem is that you don't believe, deep down, you don't believe in God. That's why you did not set yourself free from pornography. Because if you believed the same fear that you showed here at the temple, because you say you believe because you are in a visual place. I'm the bishop, here there is the temple, the altar, so this inspires you to holiness. You are seeing it, but if you are elsewhere, you're not going to have the same fear to God that you say that you have in here. In reality, you don't believe in God how you should believe. So this is the worst sin, the worst mistake. The person is insulting God. When you do things in secret, in private, which are condemnable by God, or when you still do it thinking, nobody's seeing it, there's no problem, nobody will know it, but God is seeing, it's like if you were saying, I don't believe that God exists. I don't believe that God is seeing that. And if He sees it, He's not going to do anything. What is written there, it's not true. You are giving evidences of your unbelief in God. This is the worst. Did you understand? He finishes saying, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxieties, and see if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Which means David invites God to search him. Search me. Look for it. If there's something wrong in me, which means is the trust of a person who has a clean heart.
Did you like this? Would you like to hear it again? Listen to it as many times as you need until this content becomes part of you. Don't forget to leave your like, comment, and share. See you next time.